am here today to talk about the Fool's Journey. And I am going to show you the Fool's Journey using my Cosmic Tarot. Because I wanted to give a little break. We'll probably do a lot of Rider-Waite stuff today. So I'm going to use the Cosmic Tarot because it is super beautiful. And I'm definitely, don't like that. Definitely super vibing with it, and I'm really excited to use it. So, the Fool's Journey. What the heck is the Fool's Journey? Well, in tarot, it is our 0 through 21, so it's 22 cards of the major arcana. These are the main major is, major arcana means big secrets. So these are our big stories that come out in a tarot spread. So if you're pulling a major arcana card in a tarot spread, these are cards that you want to pay extra attention to because they're super powerful and they have super huge meaning to them. They're big parts of our lives. So how the Fool's Journey works, it's a story. It's a story about the Fool going through all sorts of life-changing things in order to find out who he is and his purpose. Focus on spirit guides living in. I signed up for the Fairy Tale Insights. So excited. Yay, Stephanie! It's going to be so excited. Stephanie signed up for the Fairy Tale Insights with Sarah, and I'm sure I'll help out too. But it's going to be a whole lot of fun. So the Fool and the Fool's Journey, it is... Okay, so the Fool, anybody can be the Fool at any time. I know it's kind of an awful word, I guess, awful, for starting of a new journey. So all the time in our lives, we're going through cycles. We start off as this Fool, this naive kind of person, and this can be when you're, a child and you're growing up, or it can be like when you're changing careers or you're going to school. You can literally be at the Fool stage at any time of your life. It's a time where you're starting new things. So you have the Fool here, and you have this very naive, kind of free-spirited person who's ready to jump into something new. So the Fool is always standing on a cliff. His little pet dog friend is chomping at his heels, and he's just about to jump in down this mountain into the unknown, and he doesn't care. Like this guy, he's like practically dancing off this cliff because he's excited. Like I said, he's naive. He doesn't know what's going to happen next, but he doesn't care because he's doing this. He's motivated to do it, even though he has no idea what is going on. And the Fool's Journey starts here. It starts here, not knowing what to expect, not knowing what's up or down, not knowing if you're gonna make it, not caring, just total and honest trust that things are going to fall together for you, that you are going for it. So you start at the Fool in the Fool's Journey, starting off into something new. And then you run into the Magician. So the Magician, as you can see here, he has all of the things, all the elementals that you find in the tarot. So he's got his cup, his wand, his pentacle, and his sword. And he's got all of this kind of third eye and, charisma staring right back at you, pulling you in. And what the Fool learns at the Magician is what is tangible, what your willpower, what your determination, what your skills can bring you. When you're properly prepared, the Magician shows you that literally you are capable of anything that you set your mind to. That you can manifest, positive things in your life. You can bring in things. You are full of unbridled potential, and all you need to do is figure out how to utilize the tools that are given to you to make this thing possible. So the Fool jumps off the cliff and he runs into the Magician, who shows him that all things are possible and how to hold on to and use all of your gifts, all of your power. And from there, he also meets the High Priestess, who is the counterpart of the Magician. So you've got the Magician, who's full of tangible strength and force and like manifestation, like he's making things happen. And then you run to the High Priestess, who's kind of full of secrets and things that are not yet known. So you've got like the really bright light side of the Magician, and you have the kind of dark unknown side of the High Priestess, and she's here to show you how much deep subconscious potential is locked deep inside you that you don't yet know that you have. She's here to be like, hey, I'm not going to tell you that you're crazy good at this or that. You're going to figure it out, and you're going to figure it out on your own, but it's there, and I'm going to challenge you to find that. I'm not going to make it easy for you. I'm not going to just, open my book of wisdom here and give you the answers. Like, you need to find them for yourself. you know, you need to, you dive deep into your secrets, your you know, your potential that you are afraid to look at. So the high priestess is the dark half kind of the magician, tangible, you can do this, like right there, potential, and then your potential that's locked deep inside. So the fool runs into these guys first and realizes there's kind of dark and light, and that he's got a lot of challenges in front of him. Some are going to be easy, and some are going to be, you know, he's going to be able to do because he's already capable of doing them, and some not so much. Some's going to take some work. So after that, so the fool's journey, it's kind of like a story. So tarot is a lot like storytelling. So after that, not too midway, I'm on the fool's journey and I've only gone through 3 cards. So we're good. So after the fool has jumped off the cliff and he's met the magician and the high priestess, he bumps into our empress here. And our empress is the mother. He bumps into what he realizes is the mother. Now the mother can be, you know, somebody in your life, and can be the earth, the fertile soil, the ground, nature. But he bumps into the empress, and the empress shows him what it's like to be loved and grounded and nurtured. And then the fool learns how to do these things as well. How to bring ideas, you know, how to fertile the ground, how to fertilize the ground, how to make things grow, how to push things forward, because the empress has shown him some love and support and some warmth. So the fool here learns love and nourishment from the empress. And when he's also done with the empress, he meets her counterpart, the emperor. And the emperor takes all that he's learned so far and then teaches him how to stand tall and how to lead and how to be stable and structured. So after he meets kind of the magician and the high priestess, which are kind of like his strange aunt and uncle, that kind of give you like a nudge and tell you some strange things you have to listen to, you have to like think about. You have the parents here, the stability that kind of reins it all in, that, you know, gives you the foundations that you need to keep moving forward. They kind of give you, you know, everything, all the nurturing that you need. They help the fool grow up. So having these kind of archetypes within you help you to face on the further challenges that come in through the fool's journey. Challenges and wins. So you learn how to be nurturing and loving and warm from your empress, and then you learn how to put everything into order and how to be a strong person and how to have leadership skills and how to, you know, have a team around you of people to help you, because you've learned how to be a leader from the emperor, the father. After that, in your fool's journey, this is going to take a while, there's so many cards, you have the Hierophant, and the Hierophant is here to challenge you on what you know to be true, like what your beliefs are. The Hierophant wants you to take a good look at what you think is true about your belief system and find one, and find, you know, soul tribes, like people to help you build your stabilities in your beliefs, but also to challenge your beliefs a little bit. And maybe it's a time to look a little further into your belief systems and to decide which way is the right way for you to go. Like some people, the Hierophant card is really kind of like, I don't want to see the Hierophant card, because some people don't like this idea of not stabilized, but structured, you know, religion or ideas like that. And the Hierophant, like for me, I like to think of it as, like I said, your soul tribe, you know, people who vibrate on the same energy field as you do. So the Hierophant here challenges you to look at your beliefs. Okay, so you've learned something from the Empress and the Emperor. You've come through with that, but now it's time to look at your foundations of which you've been grown up on, what the Fool has landed on, and then see where you can take that next. So here, now that we're at the Hierophant, which is card 5, we have some foundations. We know what we want to know. We've taken the plunge. We know what we're capable of. We know we need to work on the things that we're not sure if we're capable of. We've learned from the crazy aunt uncle, we've learned from the mother and father, and we've really built some foundations here on how to move forward into our life. And after the top 5 major arcana come through, you come to the Lover's card. And the Lover's card is a crossroads card. I mean, obviously it's the Lover's card, but it's a lot of times in tarot there's one man and 2 different women, and it's kind of the idea of choosing, and this is terrible, but it's, you know, tarot depictions are changing, which is a good thing, but in, you know, a traditional tarot card, sometimes there are 2 females, one who is blonde and busty and looks a little risque, and the other one is usually like a brunette with her dress buttoned high and, you know, Cupid's over there with his arrow. He's gonna hit one of them, and the guy in the middle is kind of looking at both of them. You know, does he want to go towards the, you know, the frisky busty blonde and take a risk, you know, and be uncertain about the outcome, or does he want to take the structured, you know, brunette, which is terrible. I know, but this is old tarot imaging. Forgive us, sister. And take, you know, the secure brunette who is buttoned up high and stable and all that fun stuff. So it's a crossroads. It's which decision are you going to make now that's going to bring you to the rest of your decisions for, you know, for this cycle of your life. You know, do you take the road less traveled that has some risk? Do you take the straight road to like the sunshine where you know that things are going to be stable and secure? So the Lover's card is all about taking the right path that puts you with the person or the job or the friend that's going to help secure you into where you're going. So the Lover's card is your crossroads. It's time to make a decision on which road you're going to take, which way to go. So after you run into your Lovers, you get the Chariot. And so here you've got some more motivation behind you. You've made some choices. It's time to get into your Chariot and drive forward on your willpower and strength alone. Now this Chariot has the charioteer has reins, so he's controlling the horses, but a lot of times the Chariot has no reins because he's literally driving, hi Amanda, these horses on his willpower and determination alone. So you've chosen your road, and now it's time to go full speed ahead with everything that you have and everything that you've learned, and to push forward into the world. And after that, now this is where it gets kind of silly. This card, I know that it says card number, Roman numeral challenged. So the Chariot's number 7, and this is going to throw me off. So this says number 11 on top, but a lot of times strength and justice get flip-flopped. And I like strength here at number 8 and justice later on. So in this deck of cards, though, they're the other way. So this one, I know the number's wrong, but I like them this way. So, anywho, after the Chariot, we get strength. Okay? So you're being driven forward. You know all the things that you need to know. You've hit a crossroads. You're determined to keep moving forward. And you're starting to maybe feel a little bit like, whew, this is some rough work. I've, you know, met a lot of new people. I've taken on a lot of new energies and personalities and ways to move forward, and then you're gonna run into strength. And strength is that idea of really digging deep and finding what makes you you. You know, taking all of those things that sometimes you think of a negative about yourself and to harnessing them as a part of your inner strength. So it's conquering your demons, conquering things that make you nervous, and really standing on your own 2 feet in confidence and charisma and being like, this is me, I am strong, I am confident, you know, and I'm going to keep pushing forward because I'm comfortable in my own skin, I'm comfortable with what I've learned, and I'm, you know, ready to keep moving, keep growing because I've become, you know, more attuned to myself. So after the Strength card, you get one of my personal favorites, and I love him on this card. You get the Hermit. So the Hermit, how great is this Hermit? Can we just take a second? This Hermit is life. All right. Anyways, so you've now come to grips with your, you know, yourself. You're confident in your own 2 shoes. You know, maybe you were just wearing 1 shoe before. That was, you know, you're trying to break in and hesitant to put on the other side, and now you have. You know, you're ready to be in your new shoes, and you're ready to keep moving forward. But you're kind of on overload, you know. Like I said, you've talked to the Magician, the High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor. You've had the Hierophant, you know, challenge your beliefs. You've hit the crossroads and decided to who to take with you. You've decided to keep moving forward and then run into some self-confidence issues, learning how to harness those and make them confidence, you know, positive things. And now you're a little exhausted and you want to take a minute to be by yourself with your thoughts and to collect them. So here is the Hermit. The Hermit is going at it alone. He is his own beacon of light. He's not afraid to be by himself and to sit quietly and meditate and reflect on all that he's learned, to find his truth in all that he's picked up. So the hermit is a time to kind of step away and reflect. So it's kind of a little bit of a rest period, and a time where you're not going to be heavily influenced by all of these other things that have come into you. You're taking what you've learned and you're going to apply it to what you need to do next. It's a kind of a calm before some things start to change. So your hermit card, going at it alone, learning about yourself, finding your own light, your own beacon to keep moving forward, not letting other people decide for you, really coming into your own here with the hermit and taking that time, not being afraid to do it alone, to be your own teacher. After the hermit, you run into the wheel. Okay, so you've come out of the hermit with a really clear mind. And so the wheel happens and you're realizing that, okay, I'm back into, reality. I'm back into the world. And that things aren't always as easy peasy as they have been. The wheel is cycles. Sometimes you're on top of the wheel and you're living large, and sometimes you're at the bottom of the wheel and you feel like you're just being crushed. And so the wheel here shows us that you need to be ready for life's trials and tribulations, that things aren't always going to be easy. Sometimes things are going to be in your favor and sometimes not, but you just have to ride it out. There's no fighting the wheel. The wheel is round and has momentum, and it's going to keep spinning. It doesn't care if you're holding on and you're on top and you're holding on and you're underneath getting crushed. It doesn't care. The wheel's going to keep moving and you need to roll with the punches. So the hermit goes into here, the fool who's had his hermit reflection goes into the wheel with a calm state of mind to be ready to ride the wheel. For better or for worse, to ride the wheel, to go through these cycles and take some challenges, take the hits, and then keep rolling with it and learn from it. After that, you have justice. So justice is here to look at you from all that you've done, from being the naive fool who jumped off the cliff, into all of the other majors that he's gone through up until this wheel turn. And maybe, you made a bad choice at the Lover's card, or maybe you didn't, stand your truth when it became the hermit time. Maybe you made some really good decisions, maybe you made some really not so good decisions and you're struggling, or you're living large, like I said. And justice is here to really look at you, like this card is showing, she's looking at you. And justice is taking responsibility for what you've done until now, that your actions cause reactions. And justice is swift, she's always fair. So, maybe, karmically or something, you've done some things. Justice is going to be swift. You may take a hit here or you may not, depending on what you've done. But just know that it's going to happen, and you need to, the justice card is showing you, live with what you've done in these past few cards or your cycle of life right now. Live with it, learn from it. It's done, it's over. Here's your consequence, here's your reward. Take it and keep moving forward, and either learn from your mistakes or not, and then obviously more things will happen. So justice comes through. She kind of wipes your slate clean. Here we are. We've learned, we've fallen, we've gotten picked back up. Justice has come. She is swift. She clears your slate, and it's time to keep moving forward. So after this, at your justice portion of your major arcana fool's journey, you may be again a little tired. Justice was maybe a little hard, good or bad, that time of, the truth coming out and stuff. And now it's time for the Hanged Man. Hello, good afternoon. And the Hanged Man is a time to surrender. It is just to put your hands out, sit back, be a bystander to things, and just let things happen as they are. It is, like I said, surrender. It is time to just let things fall away from you. So say justice dealt you a negative blow, and you're kind of, having some backlash from your work or your partner or your friends, and it's now just time to deal with it. But deal with it in a way that's healing and non-confrontational. It's time to just let it happen. So the Hangman gives you another time here, like the Hermit, to kind of just sit with what you've learned, sit with what you've done, sit with what you've, if you've done well and you're exhausted, it's just time to rest and take a time out. It's a time to take a time out to reflect, and when you come out of this, be a little bit more enlightened. Like the light is always behind the Hanged Man's head, and it's kind of like Odin when he's hanging from Yggdrasil, the life tree, you know, he stays there until he has a revelation of, you know, what's to come next. But he sits there and gets attacked by birds and almost dies, but he just lets it happen because he just wants to learn what he's to do next. It's kind of the idea of the hangman, although don't let yourself get eaten by birds. That's no fun for anybody. But to take that time to you can have that clarity. Sorry, somebody just tried to call me, and I hope it doesn't happen again. So hopefully you didn't lose me. Sorry, it happened again. So that was the hanged man. And from the hangman, you're gonna get up, okay? You're gonna get up, you're gonna have these, sorry, it keeps happening to me, I keep getting a phone call. And so you have all of these new ideas, you've kind of had this revelation, you've kind of just hung there, and really, sorry, phone calls. It's Mr. Enchanted. He's probably on his lunch break and he's trying to get a hold of me and I'm declining him. So after the hanged man, you're kind of refreshed, even though that time of suspension and that time of waiting has been a little, again, it's waiting and restful, but you know, you've been kind of hanging there. And now it's time to run into death. So death is here to, again, slice away all the baggage that you've taken with you, you know, justice was swift. She gave you a clear slate, you know, but you still, you know, could be harboring some of those things that have really hindered you. And death is here to tell you that it is time to burn away all of the SHIT that is not serving you, that you've been holding on to, and it's time to let it go. And it's time to maybe, you know, start something a little fresher, change your perspective like the hanged man asked you to, and to really end some things that haven't served you well. So death is here to remind us all to not be afraid to change your direction or to reevaluate, you know, how you are. Since you've learned so many things from the Fool until now, death is a rebirth of something new that needs to start happening. So you run to death. After death, artistic nudity. After death, you have temperance. So, oh man, has our Fool now gone through so many things. You know, he's had his challenges. So the Fool's journey is all about, you know, some really, you know, good, happy times, and then some really challenging times that really make you think. So temperance is here. You've grown so much, and temperance is here to acknowledge that you've grown so much, that you've learned how to be patient and how to work hard and play hard, that you've taken all of the time, you know, hanging and taking the time of death, wiping away, you know, things that maybe you really love but don't serve you anymore. And temperance has come up to show you that you've really mastered that idea of balance in your life. So you're on a really good track here with temperance. You know, you're patient, you're living a balanced lifestyle, you're not overworking, you're not overpartying, you know. It's really good that you've come to this point where you can be really stable. And even though you are patient and you are stable, you know, there can still be some problems. There can still be some confidence issues here. What you've gone through so much. If we, you know, look back at what you've gone through so much. And the devil pops up here on the other half of temperance. And the devil is here to remind you not to let you hold yourself back. You know, you could still have, you know, one foot on the tree and the hangman, you know, even though you've really come around and become a more clarified person, clarified, like butter, I don't know, a more clear person, your reality has become a little bit more clear. The devil's here to remind you that, to make sure not to fall back into your old habits, and that any bonds or chains that you still have connected to your previous cycle, the previous cards, the previous trials, the previous ups and downs, that you still need to unhook those and take your own power and to walk away from these things. So the devil here is here to challenge you again, and to bring up anything that you're still fearing, that you might, like, if you might make the same mistakes over and over again. The devil is here to be like, hey, you need to kind of reevaluate that stuff. And you might all of a sudden be like, oh my gosh, you're right, I'm still super negative, or I'm still, you know, being self-sabotaging, you know, I'm still falling asleep at 6 o'clock on the weekdays instead of staying up and working, or I'm, you know, you're right, I am still, you know, doing this or that, or, you know, whatever. And then the tower comes in. Here comes your tower moment. This is your stabilities, your foundations that you've built up until now. Here is your tower moment. Here, the devil has put the tower in front of you. And this is your ego shattering down. This is your ego being broken away from you. This is all of the things that you thought were your reality. This is the final push to knock out all of that nonsense that you've kind of created and harbored, even though you've had a lot of clarity between the Hermit and the Hangman, and Temperance. You've had some really good moments and some really light times, but you still need that one more push and shove in this cycle to show you, it's time to drop the ego, it's time to drop, the things. If death didn't cleave all this stuff away from you, the tower is going to. It's gonna shake you up and rattle you loose. And this is going to be exhausting, and it's going to be not so easy, but it is necessary to finish the cycle that you're going through, your 22 major arcana cards. It's a necessary shift. It's a necessary shaking up of what you know to be true, what you know and love. It's happening. You can't fight the tower. It's gonna happen. It's a little scary, but it's not scary. You're gonna come up on the other side and feel a lot stronger when this is done. Because after this really rough and tumble tower card, you've got your star, artistic nudity. You've got your star, and your star is here when you're feeling hopeless and washed clean from your tower moment, to remind you that there's still hope and light and love, and wishes and dreams still do come true. So the star is here to pick you up and dust you off at one of your hardest times in your fool's journey. The fool's been through a lot. He's been beaten and battered and loved, and he's lost, and he's made choices, and he's really grown up, this fool, and he's on the ground and dusty from the rubble of the tower, and the star is here to pick him up and give him a hug and wash him off and say, everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. So here's a moment of just some tender hope and love coming from the star. And after the star, we have the moon. So we still have one more thing here. Now you might have a little bit of fear, you've had so much go on. Your tower just fell down, you were confronted by the devil. Not really, but you know what I mean. You were confronted by your inner demons. Your tower's been knocked down. The star has picked you up and cleaned you off. You're back on your road, less traveled, and the moon comes up, and it makes you think twice. It makes you confront your fears, confront the crazy crayfish that comes up from the water, and there's usually a path behind the crayfish, but in this image it's not so good. To walk past the two dogs that are also usually here, and to have tunnel vision against those fears, and to walk towards the light. You've got to confront some deep subconscious fears. Walk through the night, through the moon, through the dark, through the tunnel, through the pathways. Shake off what makes you nervous and uneasy so that you can get to your sun card. And the sun card, that's like walking through the dark wooded forest, thinking that it's in the middle of the night, you're terrified, and then you walk through some heavy wooded area, and all of a sudden you walk into a field and the sun's been shining the whole time. It's an epiphany moment. It's that light and shining armor that is here to be like, hey, you done good, kid. You done good. Relish in this time where the sun is shining down on you. You're feeling light and hopeful and full of vibrant energy. And that things are better. Things are better. You're almost done. You've walked through everything. You've walked through the woods. You've faced your fears. You've lost things. You've gained things. And the sun is here to show you that it is a time to just really kind of celebrate how far you've come, because you've come so far and you're really almost done. After the sun, you have judgment, and judgment is that last call to really leave that fool that was on the cliff. Hi, Jenna. That fool that was on the cliff that jumped into the unknown. This is the last call to leave that behind, the parts of it that don't serve you behind. Judgment is here to wake you up, to acknowledge who you are, to leave behind what needs to be left behind. And it is the awakening of the soul, of the journey that you've come on. It is the rebirth of all the things that you've learned, and you've now grown into this awesome either person, or this new job opportunity, or this new relationship, whatever cycle in your life it is, because you can be the fool at 10 years old, you can be the fool at 90 years old. It doesn't matter, because we all start new cycles in our life all the time. And here's judgment to give you that last final call in to be like, hey, wake up, look what you've done. Again, like I said at the Sun card, you've done good, kid. And then finally, artistic nudity, we have our World card. And the World card is that celebration that you have done it. You can now sit back and celebrate because you, beloved fool, have gone through so many things, and you are no longer that fool. You are no longer that hanged man. You are no longer, fearful of the moon or playing in the sun. Well, you are still playing in the sun, but you have accomplished everything. You are finished. And the world here is the end of our cycle. And it is a time to celebrate and bask in the glory that is you and all that you have created, because the world is a wonderful thing. You have the whole world in your hands, and that, my friends, is your fool's journey. And from here on out, hey, guess what? You probably enter a new cycle in your life, and you become our dear friend, the fool, again. And through these trials and tribulations, remember, there's all these other minor cards that come in that challenge you and add to your story. So